She is an heiress who grew up with a family fortune worth 280 billion yuan, making her the richest woman in the world. Her name is Guo Hui Guang, and her father is Guo Henian, a real estate tycoon. People say this gentle, elegant-looking woman is, in truth, a genuinely admirable person. Her life story reaches heights most can only dream of, blessed with family, love, and career success. Some say her life fulfills every fantasy of the curious public. Whenever the media mentions Guo Hui Guang, they don't just praise her beauty. They can't resist adding grand titles: daughter of the King of Tong in Asia, daughter of Malaysia's richest man, princess of the Liangyu Empire. There's a reason for it. Her father's name carries weight. When Guo Hui Guang was born in 1977, her father was already 55 years old and the wealthiest man in Malaysia. By then, he had expanded the family business into multiple industries, both domestically and abroad, from aquaculture and oil to Shangri-La hotels and massive shopping centers. Even Beijing's Guomao complex was part of his portfolio. He earned vast sums simply from collecting rents. His entrepreneurial journey began at 24, encouraged by his father, when he invested $30,000 to launch his own trading company in Singapore. He handled various goods, but later discovered Malaysia lacked a candy factory. After thorough research, he decided to change that. He didn't just establish Malaysia's first candy company. He quickly captured 80% of the nation's candy market in the 1970s. Today, almost 1/7 of the world's candy industry is under his control. He is also known as a patriotic overseas Chinese. In the 1970s, when China was short on supplies, Guo Henian purchased 300,000 tons of materials at a low price for the country. Later, when Beijing built the Guomao complex, he invested 500 million into the project. His influence grew across mainland China, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Malaysia. For many years, he remained Malaysia's undisputed richest man. Needless to say, Guo Hui Guang never had to worry about money. Judging by the age gap between her and her father, it's clear she was not his first child. She was the youngest. Her mother's identity carries its own story. A love tale with twists. Before he became wealthy, Guo Henian married Xie Birong, daughter of Dr. Shi Chengyan, a Chinese pharmacist from Demaxinshan. But their marriage suffered from long separations as Guo Henian was consumed by work. The love between them slowly cooled. Perhaps they might have stayed together peacefully if fate hadn't intervened. On a business trip, Guo Henian met Heiress. The connection was instant, and soon they confirmed their feelings for each other. Back in Malaysia, his wife knew of Heiress's existence. She was torn between love and heartbreak. When she saw her husband openly bringing another woman around and preparing to make her his second wife, her heart shattered completely. Eventually, the couple separated. In 1979, Guo Henian moved to Hong Kong with Heiress. From then on, although Xie Birong kept the Guo surname, she had lost her husband's affection. In Hong Kong, Heiress bore him 2 daughters and a son, with Guo Hui Guang as the eldest. Her younger brother was Guo Konghua, and her younger sister, Guo Yang Wang, was more than 10 years her junior. Meanwhile, tragedy struck. Xie Birong was diagnosed with breast cancer. Weakened by illness and sadness, her health declined rapidly. In 1983, less than 5 years after falling ill, she passed away. Not long after, Guo Henian officially married Heiress, showering their children with love. In Guo Hui Guang's eyes, her father was more than a successful businessman. He was a devoted husband to her mother and a loving father. He personally chose her name, which in English means bright and intelligent, a treasured pearl in the palm in Chinese culture. No matter how busy he was, Guo Henian made time to take his children out and reminded them to keep good habits, to sleep early and rise early. To ensure their education, he was one of the first to buy a mansion in Hong Kong. But when it came to discipline, he was firm. He never handed out pocket money or gave empty praise. In those days, Hong Kong was still a British colony. Many friends' parents sent them to British or international schools. But her father insisted they learn Chinese, not Cantonese, but Mandarin. He often reminded her to cherish her heritage and remember her roots. That upbringing shaped Guo Hui Guang into a smart, cheerful, grounded person, paving the way for her smooth journey through life. After graduating from high school, Guo Hui Guang earned admission to Harvard with outstanding grades, majoring in East Asian literature. But after graduation, she didn't return to China or pursue a literary career. Instead, she chose the fiercely competitive world of finance, joining Morgan Bank in the U.S. as an analyst to gain experience. Before long, she returned home and became a reporter for the Huanan Morning Post, honing her skills in communication and building connections across industries. This role opened doors to leaders in many fields, and her sharp business sense and decisive nature quickly caught her family's attention. Within just a year, her stake in the family's Jolly Group jumped from 3.22% to 11.87%. During that time, she also had a romance with Li Minbin. But after both joined their respective companies in 2003, their lives became consumed by work. The relationship ended, though love, as it often does, had its own plans. Not long after becoming single, she met Wu Jilin, a prince with a boyish face, grandson of Zhou Wenxuan, and a Stanford-trained business expert. Both came from prominent families, had top-tier educations, and even shared a striking resemblance. By 2005, the media had photographed them looking very close. A year later, the two quietly married, building their own family. They had known love all their lives, but after marrying, Guo rarely spoke about her husband publicly. The warmth between them, though, was obvious. He was the kind of man who, in small ways, made life easier, telling her not to be nervous, to relax, and reassuring her when she forgot something. Guo loved dogs, and together they raised 3 golden retrievers. They dressed simply, blending in with ordinary couples, and ate humble meals. While other wealthy families dined on truffles and caviar, they preferred eggs and pineapple buns. Their parenting emphasized presence and shared experiences. They took their children to the beach not just for vacations, but to pick up trash together, teaching them to protect the environment. They lived with kindness, simplicity, and humility. Values Guo had learned from her father and passed on to her own children. But her life wasn't only about love and family. Once she entered the upper ranks of the family business, she displayed remarkable leadership. Her father had many children, and the question of who would inherit the empire was always uncertain. Initially, Guo Henian favored his eldest son, Guo Kongcheng, from his first marriage. But when Guo Kongcheng's romance with superstar Teresa Teng became public, the family's conservative elders stepped in. To marry into the family, she would have to meet 3 demands: disclose full family details, give up her singing career, and cut ties with all male friends in the entertainment world. The conditions were too harsh, and Teresa eventually walked away. Heartbroken, Guo Kongcheng blamed his father for both his mother's departure and his lost love. He later met a Japanese woman named Maisie, whose resemblance to Teresa was striking. She had only a middle school education and came from a modest family, but he insisted on marrying her. His father, unimpressed, turned his attention to his second son, Guo Kongyan. Born in 1956 and a University of Nottingham economics graduate, Guo Kongyan proved less effective in real-world business battles. In 2013, he fell ill, resigned from his post as Shangri-La's chairman, and the role returned to Guo Kongcheng. The brothers' relationship soured into open rivalry. In 2017, tired of the infighting, Guo Henian stripped both of their titles, leaving the power vacuum open. During this turmoil, Guo Hui Guang steadily rose, earning her father's trust. Despite her complicated position in the family, her competence and strategy made her stand out. In 2016, she was appointed executive director and vice chair of Shangri-La. By 2017, she was its chairman. In other words, she replaced both brothers, overseeing assets worth billions. In 2018, Forbes Asia ranked her as the 25th most powerful female entrepreneur. She didn't just expand Shangri-La's business reach, she even shared personal touches online, like the hotel's Chinese New Year celebrations. Even though she held such immense power, Guo Hui Guang kept her life grounded. She wasn't the type to flaunt her wealth. In fact, she was known for wearing $15 pants while sitting at the helm of a multi-billion-dollar empire. Her modesty wasn't an act. She often blended in so well that people had no idea they were talking to one of Asia's wealthiest women. For her, true confidence didn't come from luxury brands or grand displays, but from knowing who she was and what she stood for. Friends and colleagues described her as approachable, someone who listened carefully before speaking, and who treated everyone, from top executives to hotel staff, with the same respect. Those close to her said she had a calm way of leading, rarely raising her voice, but always making her expectations clear. Despite her busy schedule, she still made time for the little joys in life: morning walks with her dogs, casual meals with her family, and quiet evenings reading. The values her father instilled in her, humility, discipline, and love for her heritage, stayed with her. For all her achievements, Guo never let herself be defined by her fortune alone. She believed that wealth was a responsibility, not a trophy, and used her position to quietly support charitable causes, particularly in education and environmental protection. Her story is a reminder that even when born into extraordinary privilege, it's possible to live with simplicity, grace, and a focus on what truly matters: love, family, and staying true to one's roots.